Hello all, welcome to Shaperslearning Academy. I feel grateful that I have got another chance to meet you people. So today, let's discuss something about aeroplanes. Aeroplanes are fascinating instruments which have stoked the curiosity of human beings since its discovery. Until this day, I still remember that if there would be a loud noise of an aircraft passing by my home on the skies, myself and my kids do go out and try to observe the various components of the aircraft if visible. So such is the curiosity these beautiful machines have created in the minds of people. Man has been trying to fly for the past 500 years, whereas he was successful. The first flight was successful just 100 years back. And within this 100 years, 1905 was the first flight where Wright brothers did find out something called as a flying machine. Within 100 years or 120 years or so, the development of aircrafts has been phenomenal. Today we have the most powerful aircrafts on our skies and on our lands. Let's try to understand more about it. Thank you. Hi all. So I have a flight model for you to explain about certain basic forces that acts on a flight. So before understanding the basic forces that acts on a flight, let's understand a basic terminology. What is flying? Flying is the displacement of an object in air in a controlled manner. When an object travels in air in a controlled manner, it's called as flying. Whereas the process of flying is called as flight. The process of flying is called as flight. Imagine this to be the aircraft. This to be the wings. Wings of an aircraft. Now, when an aircraft is in equilibrium, when an aircraft is in the air, there are four forces that acts on the aircraft. One is called as a lift. This direction up is called as a lift. The other one is called as a drag. This is called as gravity, weight. This is called as a lift. This is called as a weight, gravity. And the force which makes the aircraft move is called as thrust. Whereas the force which actually reduces the speed of the aircraft so that, or something like, the opposite force of thrust is called as drag. So there are four forces acting on an aircraft. One is called as a lift, which makes the aircraft move up. The other is called as a drag, which makes the aircraft move back. The third one is called as a weight, which makes the aircraft come down, whereas the thrust moves the aircraft front. Okay, so how does a thrust is being produced? The thrust is created by the engines or the propellers. Propellers or the engines of the aircraft makes the thrust, makes the aircraft move forward. The principle is very simple. We have the fans. We have something called as the exhaust fans. You would have seen in your homes. What does the exhaust fan do? It pulls out the air from inside your room and pushes it outside. So there's a force created, right? So just imagine the wind to be stationary and the fan to be moving. So that's what is called as a propellant principle. So a propeller works on the principle of a fan, where it pulls out the air and pushes it outside. on the back, so that because the force is created and the plane moves forward. Whereas there is a force which is actually supposed to stop the aircraft or slow down the aircraft, right? Actually, in actual force, I'm speaking about the drag here. So first we spoke about the thrust which makes the aircraft move forward, whereas now we are speaking about the drag which reduces the speed of the aircraft. Actually, there is nothing so called a drag which pulls the aircraft backside, but it is the force which reduces the thrust of the aircraft. So the drag of the aircraft is produced by the wings. The friction, when the wings bend down this direction, when the wings bend down, there is a friction that is created, hence a drag is created. And let's come to the most important factor called as a lift, the way in which the aircraft goes up. An aircraft goes up because of the employment of a principle called as Bernoulli's theorem. Probably you guys would have heard about Bernoulli's theorem. So Bernoulli's theorem deals with fluid mechanics. Mostly it deals with fluid mechanics. Air is also a fluid. Bernoulli theorem is concerned with fluid mechanics, whereas air is considered to be a fluid. Hence the Bernoulli's theorem applies good for air too. So just imagine you're facing the aircraft face on, head on. Just imagine you're facing the aircraft head on. Here is called as a wings. Here is the wings. Wing 1, wing 2. The wings of an aircraft is designed in such a way that the air on the surface of the aircraft, over the surface of the aircraft, travels faster, whereas the air below the wings of the aircraft travels slower. Explaining it again, the air that travels over the wing is faster in speed or velocity, whereas the air which travels beneath the wings are slower in velocity. The aircraft design, the wing of an aircraft is designed in such a way that the velocity differs. So when there is a velocity difference in the top surface and as well as the bottom surface, a difference of pressure is created. Here, lower pressure is created on the top and higher pressure is created on the bottom. And when there is a higher pressure beneath the wings, naturally the aircraft goes up. So when there is a higher pressure down and when there is a lower pressure on the top, the aircraft goes up. So this is the principle through which the aircraft goes up. So summarizing again, there are 4 forces acting on an aircraft. One is called as a lift, which takes the aircraft up, and the opposite one called as a weight, which takes the aircraft down. And there is the most important force called as a thrust, which makes the aircraft move forward, and there is the force called as a drag, which reduces the velocity of the aircraft, and that is called as a drag. So the combination of these 4 forces makes your aircraft dance in the air. So such is the interesting concept of a flying instrument. Hope you people would have understood about the basics of flight. Let me explain more about various other functionalities in my subsequent videos. Thank you.